Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Stranded: Alien Dawn. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zero. Let's get to it. So today we're continuing our mission to not perish on an alien planet. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. So, where we ended up last time, we had been attacked yet again by some alien creatures, and we ended up with kind of the recovery mode after the attack. I've found that in the beginning, you're almost assuredly going to get injured, or at least one survivor is going to get injured. And then as you start to develop your settlement, your camp, then all of a sudden things start to improve. You can start to funnel the enemies into an area, creating a bottleneck so that only so many can come at you at a time. Additionally, you can start having, traps and things that will automatically attack these guys, so you don't have to do all the legwork yourself. I don't know, some things you never know where you want to put it. So the first time we got attacked, it was wide open, and I think everyone had a melee weapon, and one person had a laser pistol or something like that, and I think that was it. As we move on, all of a sudden now everyone has a ranged weapon, even if it's a little bit more rudimentary, like a bow or a crossbow, versus spaceman weapons. And honestly, all these people should have spaceman weapons. They obviously weren't going someplace that was potentially dangerous, because they would all have some sort of weapon on them. So far we've seen laser pistols and like a laser spear. And everything in terms of equipment, pretty much everything starts to degrade over time and has to be, kept up or used. Raw resources have to be covered, or sometime down the line we'll be able to, refrigerate or freeze the food items, the berries and the melons and whatnot, and help the preservation. But as of right now, we're able to pickle vegetables and I think make some wine, so that'll help increase the longevity of some of the produce that we have. Additionally, we have a drying rack, so we can make some leather out of hides, and of course dry the meat, making like a beef jerky or like a biltong or whatever. Rudimentary, I'm sure, but better than nothing. All these ways to preserve, because we're in the summer right now, about halfway through the summer, if not a little bit over. So I'm already thinking about, or have been thinking about, the winter. None of the produce is going to be growing, or if it is, it's going to be growing very, very slowly. So we either need stockpiles of food going into winter, or we'll have to try and find sources of food during the winter, which I don't want to have to do. And one of the ways doing that is preserving the food by pickling it, drying it, or otherwise extending the life of the food so it doesn't rot. Additionally, because the winter is likely to get very cold, I started researching construction basics so that we can create a regular house instead of just a shelter. Something a little bit closer to what they're used to instead of camping or roughing it. But I don't know how much time I'll have and resources I'll need in order to go ahead and get all that taken care of. And at the beginning, very beginning, you don't have anything to research because you don't have the ability to do any research. And then once you do, you get a few things, and then more things start popping up as you go along, as you observe different plants and animals. And, some of the other research is predicated on previous research. So there's all kinds of stuff. Basically, you want to, if there's something that's highlighted that you're not sure about, click it, see if it says observe, and then observe it. And when you first start out, there's a whole ton of stuff because everything is new and alien, and you have to figure out what you can do with everything in terms of how it'll help you to survive. So like this press, I can put those insect parts from the enemy combatants or animals that were aggressive in there with some cloth, and then it'll create these fats, and then the fats I can use for other things, cooking or what have you. Yeah, so any cooking item is going to degrade. The animal fats are going to degrade over time. So we do need to not make too many of them, certainly not more than what we're going to need. One of the other things is I wanted to make clothing. Initially, I wanted to make summer clothing, but now I think I need to make winter clothing. I think I've got that started. Hopefully. We'll take a look. Good luck charm is not necessarily a bad idea. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Umanir, with his agoraphobia, dragging everyone else down. Until we can get a cabin up, it's gonna be a problem. Every time he's outside, he's like freaking out, melting down. Fill in the blank. All right, so it's always interesting to see. You can see what they can use, and you can click off some of them so that they're not using one particular item, or that you only want them to use one particular item. So it makes it a little bit easier to kind of balance your stockpiles, your resources, so you don't run out of one particular one, or you're not using one more than everything else. So depending on what you need, depending on what you have, you might change your preferences. All right, so the stove we've got, you can see the quick tasty and chef items, but we don't have everything for each one. So whether it's a process that we've not researched yet or whether it is a resource that we've not discovered, that's on an individual basis based on whatever the recipe calls for. So maybe it needs oil or fats, or maybe it needs some processed form of a raw produce in order to be able to use it. Alright, so we've got hungry insects that are going to devour our crops. Now, it's not too serious of a problem because we've got a couple of fields that are within the perimeter of the fence. Let's see, do we have anything outside the fence? I don't think so. Or if we do, it's not that bad. So this is the first time that this kind of thing has come up where we have to kind of figure out. Okay, so we do have trees. Plus there are some, natural occurring resources that are outside of the fence that we may need in the future. So it's probably best to leave the fenced area and then go take care of them directly. It's hard to say exactly what would be the best course of action with the weapons that we have and the number of enemies that are there. It would make it a little bit difficult. You can see it looks like they've been chowing down on those. I can't remember what they're called right now. But it doesn't look like they're going to be going away, so until we deal with them, it's going to be a problem. We got flares going. I kind of want to finish it. There we go. Alright, so yeah, concrete and brick. Alright, new discovery. After you finish observing something, you get a notification on the right hand side and you click on it and it gives you kind of a rundown of what it's all about. If it's a animal, then it'll tell you if it's aggressive or not, and if you can tame it or whether it's untamable. All right, so prepping for the winter. There's floor and fluorine. So I'm guessing that the floor is the base, kind of the foundation. Yeah, we got old equipment, and it's a weapon, so hopefully we have one in reserve. I mean, I see weapons in the resources in the top middle section. And if you want to know specifically what it is, you can go up there and find out. Just feels like you have to have someone posted at the research desk all the time as soon as you get it. All right, so we've got the expedition balloon that we can make. So basically, if you have a map that's whatever size this is, 10,000 by 10,000 squares, then the balloon travels outside of the map for exploration. But you need the materials to construct the balloon, and then of course you need fuel. So every expedition you'll need fuel to fund it, and right now fuel is really hard to come by. In the beginning, the only way to get fuel is if you get lucky and you scavenge some off of the spaceship debris. As we go along, I can only assume that we'll be able to process things in order to create our own fuel. So I'm trying to figure out, I kind of boxed myself in trying to keep the survivors safe. It's always kind of neat to see the new things that you can build as you explore and do more research. All of a sudden you start getting a little bit more high tech, inch by inch. Yeah, I kind of want to add more fun things for them to do, because I know they've complained about it. If you look at their overall happiness, it'll be like, bored, there's nothing to do here. Even though I've added a couple things specifically for them to kind of enjoy, because I know that it's an issue. Now, creating a farm, I don't want to... The thing about creating a farm is you don't want to make it too big, but you definitely don't want to make it too small. So the only thing you can really do is kind of trial and error and hope for the best. You want to get as close as you can to what you need. And if you have to, go over just a little bit. And then you can always pull back. You don't want to go the other way around. You don't want to make it just under or too small for what you need, because that will not be okay. All of a sudden you're like, man, I'm out of whatever, and you don't want to be in dire need of whatever that resource is. I mean, sure, you can go look around if it's a plant. There we go. We got there. If it's a plant, you can go around the map and look for it. But the farther away from your camp you go, you know, the harder, the longer it is in order to get these things. So like the spaceship parts that are farther away from the camp are ones that I'm like, we'll get to that eventually, because I know they're going to be at their pinging away with their hammer when they get there, and then of course they have to transport things back, and they might have to take 2 trips, and We got insufficient space, so we need another. Since we have scrap metal, we'll go ahead and do that. No, didn't want to do that. I don't want it. I want it to be open like the other ones. So the first one I did okay, but then I forgot to flip the second one. So we'll cancel that. Yeah, and just start over, just to be certain. All that stuff's already been flagged. We can't build until everything's been cleared off. There we go. Oop. There we go. And then we can put in some more stockpiles. There we go. And there we go. That should be plenty. And I have a feeling that there's a decent amount of, yeah, we've got a decent amount of wood, which takes up a lot of space, but there's also, I think, a lot of berries, because where I put the camp, there was a lot of berries in that spot. Well, we've already observed that guy. All right, starting to seed the field so it'll start growing. Always a good thing. Limit reached. Yeah. You gotta do this balancing act, keeping everything in check. There, see, there's a fuel. We can. I kind of feel like I should be doing the faster. Research first and then do the slower ones afterward, since there's a decent amount of research that I can do. You can queue up to 5 at a time, so that makes it a little bit easier, so you don't have to always be like, oh, did something get researched? I need to put something in there. You got a queue. And even if it's 3 hours, you at least have things in addition. I think that feels like it's probably a good thing, a good way of doing things. Research power grids. We've got the solar panels plus the wind turbines. Uh-oh. Now we've got aggressive animals. So they're not here yet, but they're not far off from the camp, and they're going to attack eventually. There we go. My first proc on an expedition. So there's a signal flare. We can send someone out on the expedition and see what is going on. Alright, she still has a bow, and it's still good for now. Yeah, so the guy that has the best combat has the best gear. Ah, there they are. I didn't pay close enough attention to see what was going on. Kind of want to see what this is about here. So there's the signal. 2 days before it disappears. So we'll have to send someone before too long. But we also have the animal attack coming soon. I like to kind of wait for the aggressive animals to take the first move. Ah, they're there. Yeah, I was kind of second guessing myself whether or not to send someone out on the expedition, but I know that if I kept them around, there might have been an opportunity for that particular survivor to get injured, and then who knows how long it would take. That's one of the main gripes I have. And I'm fairly certain it's intentional. And some of those guys already made it through. Man, it looked like that guy went straight through the trap without actually getting trapped. Alright, one more. Ah, there he is. Alright, so on the plus side, whenever you get attacked by these insects, you can butcher all the carcasses and get some of those insect parts, which can be used for a meat stew. You can use them in the press to make the animal fats. And then, go from there. I'm sure there's probably going to be other ways to use them. Partially, whatever is researched. So the more we get researched, the faster we get researched, the better. Alright, so we need some bandages, which we have, but we need someone to actually go and heal him. Like, I know that I can go through and just click them all at once. One of the things I noticed is that there's some vulture-like creatures that hang around the camp now. They don't get too close, but whenever there is a fight, all of a sudden I notice that they start swooping in. So we need one survivor healed, and then of course get everything kind of back to normal. And there he was. There's one of them now. There's two kinds. There's one that's a tiny little guy, and then a big pterodactyl looking. It's like they're not too engaged with collecting the bug parts. Looking around for the hot air balloon, and it's nowhere to be seen. Alright, so here we go. What do we do? go something else. And you say good enough. So Talus is at this point, Talus is the main healer because he has the best healing skill. I have Layla as the backup because she's not great, but has better than 0. Now, when you're doing your own playthrough, know that you've got different speeds. If you kind of want to see what the survivors are doing, kind of a blow by blow, then you can just have it on normal speed. But if you're like, hurry up, why are you so slow? Speed it up. You can go up to, I think, double. I think there's normal speed, which is, quote, real time. And then you've got like 1.5 and then 2, I think. Because it doesn't really seem like the fast forward is like double. It seems more like it's not quite. Alright, so look at that. We're already at the end of summer. Trying to see if I can figure out. Ah, there we go. Trying to figure out how long my survivor is going to be out. If the balloon's not there, then they're still out. But if you want to know when they're coming back, you could also look at the portraits, survivor portraits, because they have little symbols in the bottom right corner that'll tell you what they're doing. If they're relaxing, or if they're transporting, mining, researching, or if they're out on expedition. Alright, fermentation barrel. Because after seeing the little description saying, well, hopefully we don't blow ourselves up making our own fuel, I thought maybe it would be better to have it away from any of the other structures. And additionally, I didn't want things close to where they sleep, because I've noticed that even if you have a person close to, walking around, they tend to get a disturbed sleep. I don't have all the materials for that. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to create materials, or the ones that I need. Yeah, that's taken a while. Alright, so I already have the construction basics. I should probably start building that, but I don't know. I'm still working on the cleanup from the last attack. Alright, so look at this. Fuel. And we want to keep making it, but we want to make sure that we're making enough. And how long does it take to make each one? Fermentation, as a general rule, takes a while, so kind of want to have 1 barrel minimum for each thing that I can make. Trying to balance out keeping the camp going, keep it moving forward, but also looking forward to the change or changes that are going to be occurring down the road. We don't know all of the changes. I don't know all the changes that are coming. There's certainly going to be some. That's funny, they actually damaged the target, so you have to repair it. Alright, we'll cancel that because I don't know when we're going to have the resources for it. And we don't want to have it just sitting there. Alright, so I want to move this over, pretty much as far over as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend out the fence basically create a subdivision. So we've got that one enclosed space now, and then later on we'll have a second one in this section right here. Can't do that with the balloon in the way, so we need to move it. And get something big, but that doesn't quite look right. Kind of want like the old what would you say, colonial style fortification where they have the big bits of lumber in the ground, ginormous wood walls. I don't see where that would be at though. These all just kind of seem like normal type fences, and I want more of a, military grade fence. So something isn't quite right. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's look at our defense. Ah, there we go. So I'm gonna add fortification. Like all those other things I feel are necessary that are in front of it. But I'm starting to worry about, because we're already into fall now, the colors are a little bit different, temperatures are different, there's a bigger swing. Actually, there seems to be a decent swing between day and night regardless, or so far, regardless of. But you have, comfortable days in the spring and fall, I assume, and then the nights tend to be cooler, and then in the summer the nights are moderate and the days are warmer, at least in this biome. Remember that there are multiple biomes that you can crash land on. You can randomize it, or if you want, you can set a particular one. They all come with their own set of challenges. Alright, let's make one, probably 4. Let's see, so we got 4 of those. Four? No, 1. 4? 1, 4. There we go, look at that. Something new. Whenever you make something for the first time, it's like, hey, something new. Alright, there we go. Now we've got some of our insect bits that are going bad, so we need to use them. Trying to get things to a certain point. I kind of want to have the fortification before I start, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a structure. So I might have to build the structure first and then enclose it later. So we said the floor was the foundation, right? We'll find out pretty quick. Jeez, and each one has its own factor. You have the integrity, but then you also have thermal properties. So of the ones that we have currently, stone is a decent one, wood is a decent one. I've got a decent amount of stone at the moment, so I think maybe I'll do that. I'll do stone. I'll get a little bit more. I haven't been mining a lot of stone. There. So we'll go ahead and get that going and get the floor set up. So even if we're a little bit shy on the amount, we should be able to get it. I kind of want to set this corner over here and then spread it out. I don't want it to be too small because I do want it to be able minimally to be able to sleep all the survivors, so something like that. But I also want to put other things in there as well that are currently outside. So there's going to be issues with scarce resources and not being able to deal with it. So we'll keep building our first real structure. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.
so much.